another Him and Will, the music. Ladies, gentlemen, Octanes, and Roadhogs, thank you for joining us tonight on the delayed QRLS Week 2 Weekend Review. Tonight, we have a special panel here for all of you ladies and gentlemen. We have 3 glorious analysts here in the booth tonight. First things first, K1 Killer is with us tonight, as always, and also here with us tonight to do some other analyzing and dig real deep into the stats is our good friend and admin, Massimune, player of the Bleacher Boys. Massimune, your first stream of the season, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going well, man. Can't wait to get into the deep dive of how the week's gone.
Yeah, no question about it, and we're going to kick things off right away here, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, we are going to go over the Kings versus the Speed Demons, the first match we saw in Week 2, seeing the Kings win the series 2-1 on a huge carry by, frankly, all 3 of their players, padding the stats here, K1.
Yeah, absolutely. The Kings came in. They came in hot and they came in heavy. I honestly think the Speed Demons. We definitely played, especially being on the team. I definitely think we played better in this game, this week than we did the week prior, which shows good team growth. But it seemed they had an answer for every goal we threw at them. Where especially if you were to watch game 2, it would be within seconds. We would, battle through, beat their defense, get a goal, get to the kickoff, and then get scored on. They tied the game. And that just kind of kept going back and forth until toward the end, they just ended up getting the edge. And a lot of that coming off just fantastic teamwork all the way around from the Kings. And I've had this team high up there as a potential playoff team from the beginning. And, this is exactly what you expect to see from a team like that.
Yeah, no doubt. And Massimune, to his point, as he mentioned, being on the Speed Demons, he thought that the Kings really just had an answer for everything. What do you think the Speed Demons really had to do there to kind of flip that narrative? Because looking at the individual player stats match to match, these guys all honestly look pretty close on the stat lines, but you look at those final scores and there's just that little bit of the gap.
If you kind of look at the score lines, you analyze them a little bit closer. You got a 4-1, right? A pretty decisive victory for the Kings, right? A 5-3, okay, still pretty decently far ahead, and then a 3-4. So it looks like the Speed Demons are kind of starting to compete, with my good old Bleacher Boys in terms of the most adaptive teams. So we've seen them kind of get this slow start at the beginning of the season, but they're just starting to just kind of like pick and roll, like observe what is in front of them and adapt accordingly. So as far as adaptability, I think they're a top tier team in the league, right? Maybe they don't have the winning record of a Gold Diggers right now or a Bleacher Boys, but it's early in the season, right? Or week 3. I think that allow them the time to kind of assess the field in front of them before we make snap judgments.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I'm glad that you pointed out the sort of adapting that they have pulled off so far this season. We saw it in Week 1 as well towards the end of that series. Fun and very excited to see where both of these teams end up in the Savage Division, but I'll tell you what, if Blubbernut, Strive, and Panda keep playing the way they're playing, this is going to be a fun season for the Kings, looking for their second championship in league history. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than the Bleacher Boys versus the Hammerheads and Mass. I'll start this one off with you. You were on the winning squad of this series. However, Game 1 was the biggest curveball we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of hit us all, threw us all for a loop. And I spoke to Alec a little bit about this kind of in the lead up. I think it's a 3v2 is an interesting situation for teams to meet up with. It's very easy to assume that you just have the clear advantage, but Billy Bob he's an S tier player and a captain above all else. So when he's got the whole field and even one less person to manage, he's gonna make the appropriate adjustments and lead his team accordingly. And we came in there expecting an easy 3-0 dubs, and that was not the case. So, let our experience be a lesson for any teams going forward. Like, don't just don't come in with a big head. Like, expect every game to be to be uh you know to be your last.
Yeah, and to that point, K1 Killer, do you think with the addition of their third player that the Hammerheads might have had a shot at winning this series?
Absolutely. Coming into this game, the Hammerheads, especially knowing as they're taking the field, they looking across at three opponents, knowing they only had two, they knew for a fact, and especially the captain Billy Bob knew they, especially early on in the season, you can't get swept. You can't get swept, and they knew right off the bat we've got to take a game. And they came out there punching in ways I don't think, and as Masamoon just mentioned, the Bleacher boys just weren't ready for. So they did a great job capitalizing on opportunities that were given to them. And so they're able to win with just the two of them. If you were to even add, if you're to able to add a third man into that rotation, have that back post there. I mean, the Bleacher Boys are not an easy team to beat, as the Speed Demons will tell you from week one, by any means. So to be able to beat them with a man down is huge. So yeah, I'd be really interested to see a rematch on these two guys, which unfortunately I don't think we will be able to see not until the playoffs potentially. But I'll be really interested to see what they could do with their full force, the Hammerheads.
Oh, we're gonna be there.
Wow, potential finals rematch here just called in the booth, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I want it noted, I called that forever ago. I called that back like during the draft.
Yes, yes.
No question.
Yes, in our original power ranking stream, I also sent that out in the air. So very interesting, very good points here by our top tier analysts here, ladies and gentlemen. And with that being said, we're going to keep moving on along here. The next match this week that we saw was the three Rocketeers taking on Clarity United, and K1 Slurpy Snail coming home with the calculated division player of the week. Has absolutely just shown up finally after that sort of quiet week one.
And a well-earned player of the week, without a doubt. Slurpy Snail is fantastic, and it's actually been so much fun to watch him working outside the shadow of Billy Bob. He's really been able to shine, and I put the spotlight on him during this matchup in my commentary. I stated, he's fantastic as an individual player, but does he have that captain power similar to that of an Alec Big to be able to transcend his own ability to make his team around him better? And this win over Clarity United, I think, proved that. He's not just a great individual player, he's a great team player, able to bring this team together, especially playing with a sub in the form of RL Zombie that night. Was able to really bring him into the fold, work with Joe in order to take a big win over Clarity United, who is far from an easy team to beat. And when you're beating them 6-1, as Mass was mentioning before, like this is a very decisive win. That is to win with authority, as they say. And on the last game of the series too, consistently getting better. Lost the first game and won the next two pretty decisively. Great work from Slurpy Snail. Really, really good series from the Rocketeers, and I think it's a really good way to kickstart the early ons of their season.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the rookie Joe 2361 there, a beautiful rookie race that we're seeing so far this season between Strive of the Kings, Sir Brodude of the Speed Demons, Joe 2361 of the Three Rocketeers, and lastly, now on a roster, which we will get to in just a minute, Avoidable Clown of the Headhunters. But Masamune, talking to K1's point, Clarity United kind of started off guns blazing out of the gate there, but as you can see via the final game tallies, that just drifted away from them towards the end.
I think Clarity has arguably the highest potential in our league. Obviously, you make the MMR excuse so they have a perfect 3,500 MMR, but besides the point, Throttle Dog came out with a stellar performance last week. Harless has the potential to clip on any player in this league, and the Jet can be a you know a wall in the backfield when you need it most. Like that, they have the potential to be a championship league. I think this is a case of the unknown kind of getting the better of them. You know, the Rocketeers were literally the definition of a of a brand new squad. Like they were formed literally at the beginning of last week. Nobody knew what to expect. Nobody was scrimming them. They had a sub. There's not a whole lot you can expect of them. I think maybe they were caught a little bit off guard. Um, don't count them out. That being said, the Rocketeers are they're out for blood now. So it's it it's very exciting. I think that the league is in a position for um, a level of competitiveness that we've never seen before.
Could not agree more. And to that point, this rivalry is an older one. Obviously, two of the original six teams. And maybe we will see these guys in the finals this season. That is the only time we could potentially see this matchup again this season. Ladies and gentlemen, the last matchup of week 2 that we saw was none other than the Headhunters versus the Gold Diggers. And K1, this was the most anticipated matchup of the week, and this was the matchup that saw a sweep.
This is a barn burner for the best term I could come up with. It is. Man, I was out of breath the entire time trying to commentate over this game because it just kept turning your head back and forth, and the Headhunters just did not relent, and they certainly did not disappoint. I think they caught the Gold Diggers on an off week. I will state that. I don't think the Gold Diggers had their best showing, but boy, did the Headhunters. And again, with what was a sub is now an official roster position, Avoidable Clown, coming from free agency and replacing one of the highest touted players in the roster on the rosters in the league to replace him like that. Big move from the Captain Toaster there. One we'll definitely get to see how it plays out later on down the season. But great games. Squid had a phenomenal game, and I think he personally would have been my pick for player of the week. Definitely up there. Slurpy Snail had such a great showing. But yeah, Squiddy was right behind him. Fantastic showing from him, and great games from the Headhunters. If you guys haven't gotten the chance, please go back and rewatch these games on our YouTube
This game was
because
so
they
good.
are. Oh, it was fantastic. I felt like I was watching the RLCS.
And Massimune, look at these score totals. These are all 1-goal games, two of them identical games, 3-2. And, as K1 said, this was just back and forth and back and forth. And there was a lot of star power in this matchup. Right now, Will Six, a former MVP runner-up, Squiddy D and Toaster both are tied for second in the league in goals with 8 so far, tied with Slurpy Snail and Will himself, trailing only Billy Bob. You could argue that there are 3 MVP caliber players just in this game.
Yeah, the scoreline says 3-0, but this is deceptive. That this could have clearly been 3-0, easily been 3-0 in the other direction. I was watching these games recently, in fact, I think about a day ago again, and it was just minute decision-making mistakes that resulted in Gold Diggers giving up goals. I think the Headhunters are kind of coming out of the woodwork with an all-star squad and might kind of just take the league by storm. but the Gold Diggers are not to be underestimated. This so far is my favorite game of the season. The Headhunters Gold Diggers, and I'm so glad we have a YouTube channel to preserve this game because
Right.
it was just so good. Squiddy was out of his mind. I I can't express how thankful I am to be able to go back and watch these games. I think that this is a perfect example. Despite the scoreline, normally you would look at a 3-0 game and just be like, "Oh, that's a
Yeah, it's not that
blowout,
exciting.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
garbage. Why even?" No, you all need everybody listening to my voice needs to go back and just rewatch and research these games because it will pay off in dividends for
I think
your performance in the league in the season.
I think what's awesome too is this is an interdivisional. What's building to be an interdivisional rivalry between these two. This is going to be a race for the number one spot all season long. It's going to be so fun to watch how these two kind of grow and fight for that number one spot back and forth.
No question about it. Great analysis, guys. This would mark the fifth ever sweep in Headhunters franchise history, and that improves their record against the Gold Diggers all time to 4-5. So trying to, like you said, K1, establish that rivalry early on with this new expansion team we saw last season in the Gold Diggers, and obviously producing some of the best games we might see all season long. Ladies and gentlemen, this is personally my favorite part of the stream here, the power rankings slide, where we are going to talk about season standings and where we think teams are going to match up here in the short runnings. And it's hard. It is so hard to rank 8 teams, K1, when everybody is so close in record this early on in the season, because it is literally a 2-game swing from front to back.
Without a doubt. And now, am I allowed to comment over my own thoughts on the power rankings, or is
No
this
doubt.
just kind of finalized?
Absolutely.
Because looking at this list, I do, and obviously I'm gonna talk about my speed demons being down in the number 8 spot, so I'm gonna get to that. But no, I think I definitely agree with the majority of this. The question marks I have is I see the Bleacher Boys at the 3 spot, and I love the Bleacher Boys. If anybody's listened to me talk about the Bleacher Boys, I gush over them all the time. I still think they're one of the most well-rounded teams. But and Moss, don't take this personally. I'm just talking. I haven't been incredibly impressed with their performance so far, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. I just think they could play so much better than what they have, and they're still top of the division. So that says a lot, that I don't think they're playing up to their potential. And I know they beat the Kings, but I've seen the Kings play. And so that I think it's going to be a lot of contention between them being in the 3 and 4 spot on the power rankings. The 1 and 2 spots, I think I agree with 100%. I've been a huge fan of the Headhunters ever since Toaster picked up Squiddy and X-Knight. And now with the addition of Clown, I think they're definitely formidable. But as it stands right now, they're definitely they swept the Gold Diggers, so they're better. But I can't wait to see them play again, because I think the Gold Diggers have they want to have that last laugh. And of course, I'm gonna talk about my speed demons. We've got a lot of room to grow. I understand why we're down there, but look at our trajectory right there. Right, look at the logo being blasted up. We're starting at the bottom. That's fine. We got a lot to grow. I think we're gonna turn a lot of heads coming here soon, because we get to take on that number 1 spot next week. Y'all just watch.
And Massive Mutant, to his point, do you think that there are any teams on this list right now that might be too high rather than too low?
Too high rather than too low. That's no. I think this might be a perfect league ranking right now.
Wow.
I honestly don't know that I would change this ranking as it is. Maybe I would put the Hammerheads above the Rocketeers. Maybe that's hard to say. But as it stands currently, obviously I'm biased. I think the Bleacher Boys have the potential to just blow the whole roster, the whole league out of contention if we played the way our potential stands. But no, I think the way you have it right now is actually pretty accurate. You know, the Rocketeers have the potential to go higher. The Hammerheads have the potential to go higher. The Speed Demons need to find their mojo. I think that they're on the verge. I think K1 is on the cusp of unlocking the potential of his squad. But no, this is good.
Before we move on, real quick, Mass, do you think who do you think has the biggest potential to raise up that ranking? As you mentioned, I know you said the Rocketeers or the Hammerheads or maybe the Speed Demons. Personally, I still have so much faith in the Clarity United squad to really
Clarity,
have that
clarity.
duo, right?
It's clarity. Clarity has the potential to be number one, right? They have Heartless. They have Throttle Dog. Wait, right? Yes.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Yep.
um, they 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 have the potential to, curtail the the tilt factor. Um, they can overcome the naysayers. I think they have the most potential to go up. I think they have the most latent potential, right? I think Slurpee and Billy Bob have the most apparent potential. I think number 6 and number 7 can clearly, pop off at any given moment and overtake the Headhunters. But Clarity has the most apparent potential. I think they're going to be moving up at any given moment. Um, until the Bleacher Boys decide to start turning on their monitors and drop all you boys down.
Great stuff here. And ladies and gentlemen in the chat, let us know what you think about the power rankings and let us know what you think the power rankings should be. We'd love to hear everybody's opinions, and that is exactly what this stream is all about tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, we are going to the player spotlight of the week. And this week we have the honor of talking to one of the good guys, one of the best that we've seen in this league, Blubbernut69981, captain of the Kings of the Savage Division and also player of the week of the Savage Division this week. Blubbernut, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. Thanks for bringing me onto the stream tonight. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you wonderful people.
And Blubber, I'm going to get right into my first question for you here. At the beginning of the season, you made it public that you were looking to sort of take on a coaching role this season. You now have a seasoned vet in Panda who really helps that locker room mentality, especially in the backfield. And then you have the rookie sensation Strive. Would you say your team is meeting your expectations so far, if not exceeding them?
Oh, they are definitely meeting my expectations. As far as their, just in general, they are, and the way that they're willing to learn, especially who used to be known as the Freak Panda. He never talks. He does, but I swear he never does. And I'm actually getting him to actually be a couple one-worders, which is really good progress because it's week 2, which is great. And Strive, what I've gotten closer to from this is super cool, really chill, and we love to play a lot. We play almost every night, if we're being honest. So I'm really glad to coach guys like this because they just make the enjoyment that I have for this league and for this team a lot higher than what I originally thought. So I'd say, yeah, they're exceeding my expectations, to be honest.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And obviously, there's all this hype around Strive and I mean, the Freak / Panda has been around since day one of this league, and he's just one of the more fun guys to have in that comms room anyway, especially when you guys are playing well. So, kudos to you guys, and we're going to switch it on over to Mass here. He might have a question or two for you.
Yeah, so I guess my first question, Blubber, is what would you want to see improved in your roster? The Kings have had kind of mixed results in the past couple weeks. It's we're week 3, so there's only so much kind of adjustment and improvement that you can make. The idea of making roster changes at this point is kind of a little far fetched at this point. I don't think that's where your mind's at. But what do you think could be done better? Where do you want to focus on in the next week's engagement?
Lately, we've been kind of working on our defense to offensive transitions. We did some work with our Kings team. Sorry, for whatever reason, I don't remember the name. Speed
Speed
Demons,
Demons.
the Speedy Boys. Yeah, we did some analysis yesterday, which was really cool. I really liked that. It was kind of different. But
I want him out of the booth. He forgot my team's name.
I did that on purpose, just because I knew you'd be upset. But
I'll go cry now.
but I'd say definitely defense to offensive transitions and not making challenges that we have to. So if you clearly see someone's going up for a ball, don't go up for it. Don't say, "Oh, he's going to beat me," but I'm going to fly up for it anyways. Okay, one. But that's kind of what I've been working on with my team, and we've been making some improvements. But I would really like to see that improve at least by week 5, because with that kind of stuff, you can't just expect it to change 1 week. So that's where my goals are right now.
Blubber, this week you won your 11th Player of the Week award in QRLS history. That is the most all-time by any single player, and you're also one of only 2 players, alongside Eagle, your former teammate, to have won the award in each of the 2 divisions in the QRLS. How have you maintained this high level of play for so long with so many different teammates so far in this league?
Well, I've just been in the right division every single time, because I guarantee it. If I was going up against Billy Bob or maybe Slurpy Snail and we played the same amount of games, those kind of guys would blow me out of the water. I really like those guys as players, especially what they bring to the league and their skill and ability. Not saying that what I've done is nothing, because I've played however many games, but God, like I said, I got to hand it to being lucky in the right division to do that. But even aside from that, I'm still a force to be reckoned with, I promise.
I believe you.
Absolutely love it. Mass, do you have one more question before I hit him with the big one?
Not right now. You can go ahead.
Blubber, I'm going to throw some stats at you here real quick before we move on and send you home. So bear with me here, as I do love my stats. You are currently number 1 in all-time shots on goal, number 2 all-time in saves, number 2 all-time in assists, gearing up to pass myself, number 1 in goals, number 1 in hat tricks, number 2 in saviors, and now you are tied for number 1 with myself in all-time wins as a player. And lastly, you have never missed a game, playing all 96 games in QRLS history so far that you possibly could. What do you make of your legacy here in the QRLS, and do you consider yourself the greatest of all time?
Oh, I love the legacy, and honestly, I don't want to stop here. I just want to keep going. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Always have since season 1. I like to see the way it grows and the way it changes. If we're going by, I'd say as like Hall of Famer, yeah, I'd put myself up there as, one of the greatest. But even with all Hall of Famers, there's always that one guy that comes out of nowhere, as times approach, and they're like, oh, I wonder if he was with Blubbernut back in season 1, like, how would he play against him? Because he's so ancient. I wouldn't, because I'm a kind of a humble person. I don't like saying that I'm the best, because I know that there are players in this league that have joined that are much better than me. I would say that I'm up there, but I'm glad to leave the impact and all those stats that I have for the last 4 seasons, and hopefully I can continue to do it for the next 4 seasons.
Very great stuff, Blub. I tried to get you to lose the humble, but nonetheless, it was not that easy. Thank you for joining us. K1, do you have anything for your former teammate, former champion colleague, before we send him off?
I just want to say, as many of you may know, some of you might not, The Kings was actually my baby, formerly known as the K1 Kings, named after myself. I gave it. I handed it away to Blubbernut because I knew he would honor the team, and if there's anybody who would bring a championship to the Kings, as I have once, and I know will be done again, it is this man here, a close personal friend of mine, and just love to hear your voice, and love to see you doing so well, buddy.
Aw. Thanks, K1. I'm so glad I traded you as soon as you didn't pick up.
God, I can't wait to play you again. We're gonna sweep you so hard.
Just like you did last night.
Blubber, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you this week during your guys' matchup.
This Sunday night. All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Sunday.
Can't wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Blubbernut, always a pleasure. And we are going to wrap things up here, ladies and gentlemen, with this week's matchups coming up. And starting things off, we're going to have the Headhunters take on the Speed Demons. And K1, I'll have you touch on this one a little bit since you are going to be there firsthand on the field. What do you expect as a player in this matchup from the top record in the league at 5-1?
I will tell you exactly what I expect. We've played how many matches so far, the QRLS?
2.
No. How many, the QRLS as a whole? How many matches have we played? You said 96?
There's 96 games, which totals to 22 weeks.
So like 96 matchups so far.
I'm sorry, 32 weeks. Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, 96.
So
yeah.
96. Okay, yeah. So I expect everybody to be at the Headhunter Speed Demons game because that will mark the 100th matchup in QRLS history this Friday night, and it is going to be the best game ever because the Speed Demons, you know, we move speedy, but we move silently too, and I'm telling you what, everybody be ready for Friday night Speed Demons, Friday Night Lights. I don't think the Headhunters are quite ready yet for what we're bringing. They're not ready.
I'm telling you, if you're not sharing the QRLS, Twitch, and YouTube channels on your Facebook, whatever medium you can, for Friday night, you're messing up. You're messing up. You know, this is our number 1 versus our number 8, right?
Yeah, David and Goliath.
This is literally David and Goliath, and yet I think it's there's no way that it's gonna turn out like you expect. So don't sit on your don't wait. Share it to your friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, so very excited, and also want to point out that it's going to be a battle of the rookies as well, as we'll see Sir Bro Dude going up against Clown, and now that he's officially on the Headhunters, so excited to see that, and I think it's going to be a really, really good matchup, and probably the most challenging matchup we'll have this season, if I'm honest. So we're bringing our best.
Absolutely love it. Moving on, we see your Bleacher Boys, Massimoon, take on the 3 Rocketeers, and I know you gave a lot of praise here to Slurpy Snail earlier in the stream. What do you make of this match?
Slurpy is a scary man, you know. He can do a lot with a Rocket League ball on that field, but you know, we scrimmed against them a few times. We're pretty even, but I think this is amongst the most even of matchups in the league right now. The 3 Rocketeers are pretty low on the standings right now compared to us. I think they're about two or three rungs down the ladder. But I think this could very easily be a playoff level, if not championship level matchup. Everybody's talking Gold Diggers, everybody's talking Hammerheads, but I think the Rocketeers are frankly underrated right now. I think they're speedy. I think they're you know, they're slick. They can slot shots into the net when you least expect it. I think Slurpee has these 1,000 IQ plays that nobody else can see other than maybe Billy Bob. I think that you need to tune in to the QRLS and watch this matchup.
Another crazy matchup that we are going to see is the Kings taking on the Gold Diggers. We heard from Blubbernut earlier about how he felt his team was progressing this season, and I cannot wait to see this one. Honestly, this one might be the one I'm looking forward to the most. And with that being said, K1, your former franchise, the Kings, how do you feel about this matchup? Because honestly, both these teams sitting at 3-3, opposite divisions. This is the only time they're going to see each other in the regular season. This could be a quiet but deadly season turner.
Absolutely. If I'm speaking candidly, I think this is the Gold Diggers' games to lose. They should, on paper, beat the Kings. Will Six and Baby Dumbs are probably the most scary dynamic duo the QRLS has seen since Billy Bob's and Slurpee Snail. I think that easily the most dynamic duo here in season 4. With that said, they're going to have to bring a better game than they did against the Headhunters this past week, because the Kings, where they have the Gold Diggers have the star power, the Kings are probably the scrappiest team. And I mean that in a very endearing way. When I say scrappy, I mean they will absolutely take every opportunity that you give, and they'll take full advantage of it. So the mistakes that you make, the Kings will capitalize. That is what Blubbernut thrives on, and I know he's built his team around thriving on that as well. So long as they keep their rotation sharp and they keep an eye open for any windows the Gold Diggers give, they'll be able to beat them. It's up to the Gold Diggers to play the way that they should, make sure that they minimize on mistakes, and in all, I think they'll be very close games, but I think it's the one the Gold Diggers should take 2-1, assuming they're playing the way they should.
Massabune, the last matchup of this week 3 is Clarity United taking on the Hammerheads, and with that being said, the Hammerheads more than likely going to have 3 players this week. You saw firsthand what they're going to do with 2 players. However, Bearded back in the rotation, taking on Clarity, who had kind of a disappointing week from their own standards. Do you believe there is a clear-cut winner? I know you have high praise for Clarity United.
I do have high praise for Clarity. This is so difficult to call. Billy Bob and Robbie have the potential to take over an offensive half. Bearded is the Rocket League wall, that Great Wall of China. And that being said, the first time that we played the Hammerheads, and this is in the off season, we were fully expecting Bearded to play this defensive, passive role. He was down our throats. He was fast breaking the ball at every possible opportunity. They are a force to be reckoned with. Losing Slurpee has not stopped Billy Bob in the slightest. But Clarity's potential is just so high that it's just difficult to bet against them. So it's almost like saying it's Clarity versus I never thought I would be putting Hammerheads as the underdog, but I think they're the underdog in this matchup. There's not much more. There's not much more that can be said about it. I think that it's a matchup for the ages.
Yeah, and honestly, all of the matchups so far this season have been so tough to predict, and that is what is making this league so fun and competitive this season. So kudos to everybody involved, and honestly, we cannot wait to watch some more QRLS. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, this will wrap up our Week 2 in review. Was supposed to be on the weekend, but here in the Northeast, a lot of us were sleeping by Sunday after a lot of our players and admins were out shoveling and or plowing for hours on end. So a little pat on the back to you guys. You guys helped me get to work. I know that for a fact. So thank you all so much. And K1, we'll start with you. Do you have anything before we kick this thing home?
No, just thanks for all you do putting together this show. Want to give one last shout out. There may be a rescheduling, but we'll figure it out. Either way, this week we will also be seeing, sponsored by the Gold Diggers, the Rumble tournament.
Can't wait.
Coming up. It's scheduled right now for the 4th, but we also have a matchup scheduled on the 4th, so we'll figure that out and get that information to you in the Discord. However, the show will go on. Super, super excited for that one. Rumble tourney, first ever, and we got some really hyped teams. So stay tuned for that. Probably coming in later on the week, and check the Discord for more notifications.
Massimune, do you have anything else before we go home?
Oh man, I'm just so excited for this week. If you guys are not sharing the QRLS to your Facebook walls, to your, I guess, what other medium of sharing would be appropriate? If you're not sharing the activity that the QRLS is doing, you're messing up. We've got some quality content going on. We've got some really exciting expansions in the future, more to be announced in the very near future, I'm sure. So, stay tuned in. Stay excited. QRLS.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. 4 big matchups this week and possibly a Rumble tournament rescheduled to be determined. However, right now it is scheduled for February 4th. I am Quicksilver59, a.k.a. Little Bucket, a.k.a. The Commish. Joining me tonight, the always wonderful K1 Killer and Massimune. Thank you all so much for joining us here. Wrapping up week 2 in style, seeing what we saw, predicting what we predict, and moving on into week 3. Without further ado, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do on the Twitch, on the Facebook, on the YouTube. Go ahead and like all of it. And also, if you are a player looking to join the league, go ahead and join that Discord server. Fill out that player form, and if you are already in the league, go ahead and fill out a captain application form to see if you want to own / be the captain of one of the new expansion teams coming in Season 5. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot wait to see you in our matches this coming week. And as always, keep it quick.